Hey, everybody, what's going on? How you doing? So, this video, I get calls a lot from folks about they're starting out doing wholesaling real estate, or maybe some even looking in for some fix and flip properties, and they got situations where they have a seller had what's seller property, but there's tenants in the property. That's a real issue. That's a real major concern, particularly with these moratoriums they've had from COVID and things like that. Uh, Important to know about, and this is something you have to really be aware of. Okay, so pay close attention to what I'm going to tell you. This is going to be very valuable information. Okay, you can't not, if you're going to try and wholesale a piece of property, or if you're going to try even your own fix and flip kind of situation, you cannot ignore the tenant problem. It's a real issue. So what do you do? Okay, so bottom line, this is what you always want to do whenever you look at any property. Again, three things I always tell my people I mentor. One, what is the seller's problem? Two, what's the ARV of the property, the retail number? Three, can you split the lot? Okay, I've done plenty of videos on administrative lot splits. You can watch some of those. We'll talk more obviously in the future, but suffice to say right now, we want to know, we're going to focus on the second issue. What is the ARV of the property? Okay, what's the value, the retail number when repairs are done? Maybe it doesn't need repairs. Maybe it does need repairs. Okay, so pursuant to that, we have to deal with the tenant issue. Okay, so whenever let's say you're a wholesaler and you get a property and it looks good. You do the math, run the numbers, it looks pretty good. Maybe you've even been to the house, the tenant's permission kind of thing, took some photos. What do you do now? Well, here's what a cat. So you have two choices, okay? Choice one, well, before I talk about choices, again, what is your exit strategy? If you're going to fix and flip, your exit strategy is you're going to fund it yourself, get private money, get a loan, whatever you're going to do, your own cash, and then fix it, add value, sell for a profit. Okay, if you're going to wholesale the deal, your exit strategy is going to find a buyer who is going to fund the deal. Okay, and a buyer, there's two different kinds of buyers. Okay, the vast majority of buyers that you're going to work with, know, and have business relationships with as a real estate wholesaler are fix and flip guys, because they got $3 million to recycle every month, every 6 months. You know what I mean? They're always needing new product. Okay, the money doesn't change. Buy and hold guys, you only have so much money, and you can only buy so many houses. And does that make sense? $1 million doesn't go very far. Especially if you're in the coast area, San Francisco area, Boston or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's New York. It just $1 million doesn't go very far. Even Midwest. You know what I'm saying? So the point is, most of your buyers are going to be fix and flippers. Okay, so this video is going to be about how you talk to a fix and flipper about the tenant issue. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? I'll have a different video for when you find a buyer. You find a property with tenants in it, and you're trying to find a buyer who's looking for a buy and hold. Does that make sense? That's a different video. They're looking for a lot different issues, many different issues than a fix and flipper. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so here's the two things you need to know when you're talking to a buyer. Okay, your exit strategy for a wholesaling property is your buyer is going to fund the deal. Okay, he's a fix and flipper. Two things you want to know. Okay, with the tenant issue. Okay, number one, they want to know. Okay, what's the terms of the agreement with the tenant? Does that make sense? Okay, is the tenant do they have a lease agreement in place, or is it month to month? Is it 6 months? Okay, that's a big deal. They want to know that. Okay, they really want to know, because the issue is, for any kind of fix and flips, you cannot fix and flip the house when the seller's in there and they're trying to sell the house for a profit. Okay, they have a cash buyer. They're not, like, your cash buyer, your flipper is going to rehab the house, make it nice, put it on the market, and sell it to an end user. And the end user isn't probably going to be wanting to have tenants in there. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying? So that the seller is going to, your buyer, your cash buyer rather, is going to, your fix and flipper is going to want to know about what it's going to take to get these tenants out. Okay, so you need to know what that is, like what's the terms of the lease are. Okay, if it's a 6 months lease, I'm gonna tell you right now, or a year lease, okay, walk away from that deal unless you have a buy and hold guy behind you. Okay. Well, gee, why is that? Well, here's why. Because what's it gonna take to get the tenants out? I mean, you can, well, cash for keys. Well, yeah, cash for keys works, but if these tenants don't want to leave and they've got a secure lease for 2 years, and this has happened. I've seen it many times, right? They're not gonna. They just don't want to leave. They got their garden. They got all the stuff. And they just, So you got nothing. Your fix and flipper is not gonna want to touch that thing. Okay. So essentially, a fix and flipper is going to want to know, okay, what the terms of lease are. Okay. And the second issue is what the terms of lease are, and two, what it's going to take to get the sellers out. That was the second thing. Okay. So cash for keys is a great option if indeed it's just a month-to-month lease as opposed to a long-term lease. Oftentimes your cash buyer or you'd say, hey, tenants, what's it going to take to get you out of this place? Okay. Well, we don't want to move. Well, I understand you don't want to move, but the sellers, the owner selling the property. You guys are month to month. What's it going to take? Where's the next, plan? Throw money at them. $1,000, $2 grand, $5 grand, whatever that number is. You understand what I'm saying? $5 grand, $2 grand, $1 grand, $1,000. That adds to the cost of the property. So that's how it is. It's money. Just throw money at it, right? So that's what you want to know, like what it's going to take. So you want to have a very frank conversation with the tenants. So that again presupposes the difference between a month to month or even a short-term lease versus a long-term lease. Now, let me explain what I mean by month to month or long-term lease in case you don't understand that. Okay. Some people just rent every month. There's no commitment that if they want to move out and all I got to do is give them 30 days. The landlord 30 days they can move. Okay, some tenants like that. Okay, landlords really don't like that too much because there's no kind of commitment on their end that their tenant's going to stay there. Okay, then there's long-term leases and it's typically set. Yeah, you're going to pay $1,500 a month for the next 2 years. Landlords like that because they're guaranteed to some degree that the tenant's gonna be paying them $1,500 for 2 years, and they're not going to break they break the agreement and they have to pay a fee and blah blah blah. Right? You understand? So for a wholesaler and a fix and flipper, what you're looking for is short term. Okay, short term lease. They might hey, the lease ends in July and say it's in May, into May. We go, well, they're going to be there for the next 45 days. So the fix and flipper may, they may go, is it worth maybe fund it and just let them kind of stay and move out in time, or maybe some cash for keys. And cash for keys, essentially, I say these words. I want to define them in case you don't know what I'm talking about. You talk to the seller, the tenant, and you say, listen, I'm going to buy this property. I have owned it, and we're gonna rehab it. So you need to move out of here. What's it going to take for you to move out? And then they're going to say something. Well, where are you going to move to? You have a place lined up. And what you can do sometimes, I've done this, find another place for them to move. There's a room in this trailer house over here. There's a room here, this apartment. Maybe pay a deposit. Do something, or to get them out, or rent a U-Haul. How many times have we done that? Show up at U-Haul. This is your U-Haul. You can have it. Just turn it in when you're done. It's all paid for. Just get the hell out of here, right? But now, what was I going to say to you? So there's that, and then also just cash works. You show up with a wad of cash, $1,000 in cash. Depending on who the tenant is, $1,000 seems like a lot of money to somebody. When they're struggling, right? Hey, just cash, and then what you have is a sheet of paper that just says, hey, if I take I'll take this cash once I'm going to take this cash once I've cleaned the house, or, not even clean the house, but I've left the house and I, don't plan on returning and I'm taking this cash, as consideration kind of thing. Right. So they sign it. So it's memorialized. You can take it to court and say, hey, they knew what they're doing. Right. And then you just want them out. We'll clean it. You don't need to do nothing with the house, is get out. Right. It sounds harsh. I'm not trying to be harsh. You don't have to be harsh with them, but you just got to be firm. Okay. So that's anyways, that's what a cash buyer is going to be looking for. So I hope that helps. So to recap, what you want to know, anytime you talk to a seller and have got tenants in the property, you want to know, okay, is a house, there's tenants in there. What's the terms of the lease? Okay. Is a month to month? Is it short term, long term? How long is the lease for? Two, what are they paying per month? So that really helps. Because let's say you have a short term lease and it's gonna, let's say you're in May and the short term lease ends of August. Well, then there's the renter's going to be paying cash, so there's some cash flow there. That might be an issue too, and that might help too. So that kind of thing. Okay. And then just know cash for keys is an option, and just talk to to the renter. What's it going to take to get and kind of get a ballpark? So when you go to your cash buyer, say, look, I got this property, 123 Main Street. The numbers work. It's worth 200,000, 40 grand worth of work. I'm getting it for 95,000. I'll sign it to you for 5. But here's the thing: there's these tenants in there. And the tenants, they're month to month, but I asked them, and you give them $1,500 in cash, so they'll be out in 24 hours, kind of thing. Now, you see what I said? See how professional it was? Cash buyer goes, oh, that's not bad. He goes, drives by it, and sees, okay, let's make this work. Okay, so that's how you handle a property that has tenants in it that you're trying to wholesale to a rehabber. Okay, we'll do another video on these. What you need to look for a landlord. Okay. Hope that helps. And if you have any questions, you need any help at all, want some one-on-one mentorship, just click right down here, give me a call, I answer my phone. You can do this. Keep your chin up. All right. Look forward to helping you out and making good money in this business. Great gig.